Hi guys, Nick here. Today I'm going to show you how to insert a pivot table into Microsoft Excel and how you can use it for lots of different functionality. As I get into this video, smash a like button and let's jump right into the desktop. Okay guys, so here we have an Excel document, and what we want to do is we want to put in a pivot table that we can then basically take a look at our data through a slightly different lens. Now, personally, I don't use pivot tables all that much, but they can be quite useful for certain circumstances. Obviously, they do take a little bit of setting up, so let's get right into it. So what we want to do is we're going to head over to the Insert tab here of the ribbon. We're going to come over to where it says Pivot Table. We're going to give that a click, and it's going to have this little area right here where it says Table Range. You can also highlight the data, right-click it, and basically create a pivot table from it, and all that kind of stuff, but I find this much easier because it means I'm going to put it exactly in this location here rather than a new worksheet. So the first thing we want to do with our area here selected is go over to the Content tab, which is where my data is, and I'm going to select columns A through to G. Okay, and I'm going to click OK. This is going to create me a pivot table. Okay, and this has a pivot table analyze and a pivot table design contextual tabs that only appear when you are inside your pivot table. For example, click out, they disappear, click in, and they reappear. Now up here we have the ability to rename our pivot table. It's always wise to do this. So I'm just going to say pivot and underscore 1 because, well, I'm original. Press enter. Okay, so there we go. We now have pivot underscore 1 as a named pivot table, and we can now start doing things, right? Over here on the far right hand side, we have our pivot table fields. We have all the different columns that we had data for. Type, day, date, time, idea, the title that I've gone for, and the video link on YouTube, right? Now, at the bottom, we have 4 boxes, right? And we can drag and drop these fields into these areas, or drag and drop these columns into these areas to basically create a different point of view on our data. Now, this is not the best data to do this on, but it's going to give us a rough idea. Now, what I'm looking to do is to see how many video ideas I maybe do in a given month. Now, to do that, I can grab the date and I can put that into a row. Okay, now you can see here that it's automatically given me some additional date fields, right? So I don't need the date necessarily if I've got months, quarters, and years. In fact, I think months would be quite a nice way of looking at this. So I'm going to type that. And you can see there's also a little bit of anomaly within my data. I have 02, 12, 24, but it's not coming up correctly. So if I go back to my content tab here, there's going to be a date somewhere in here that's just not quite corresponding correctly, and that's why I'm getting that error. So it's something to kind of keep in mind, that your data does need to be clean. Okay, so there we go. We've got all the months. Now what I want to do is I want to be able to see, based on our data here, how many different videos I'm doing per month. Well, I can do that by taking a look at the idea and dropping it into the values. What that's going to do is it's going to give me the count of ideas. As you can kind of see here, it's automatically counting the text because inside here the ideas are just a bunch of text fields, right? So you can see in January it's 14, and in February it's 12, 13 to be recorded for March, and 13 in April, 12 in May, 13 in June, and 4 in July, and 2 ideas for August. So you can see there's a few ideas to do. And then I want to know, okay, well, how many videos have I actually kind of already published to YouTube? Okay, well, I can do that by grabbing the video link and putting that also into the values area. So here we can see that 14 for 14, I've done all of January, I've done all of February, and I'm partway through creating and finishing off March, right? I've already uploaded 10 out of the 13 that I need to, and then April I've got 1 out of my 13. Okay, so we can see here that, you know, this is a way of analyzing my ideas and my video kind of content creation within a pivot table. Now obviously this is a really simplistic way of doing this because there's so many other things that we could do. For example, maybe we wanted a balanced view over the different types of content that I'm creating, okay, by month. Well, I can grab the type and I can go ahead and pull that into rows. Now I can put it above the months, or I can put it below the months. If I put it below the months, you can see here that I have a little plus icon that will expand and show me the different types of content that I'm doing by month. Now if I were to go ahead and put it above the month field and the rows, well, then I have the ability to take a look at the types of content and how it's spread out by month. It's not as useful, so I'll drop it back lower than the month. Okay, then of course we can have the number of days or the dates and the times of the videos going out and all that kind of good stuff. But for the most part, this gives you a good idea as to how you can use the kind of pivot table to kind of take a look at your actual data, which is just, a sea or a data dump of lots of different things, and actually format that into a way that's actually a lot easier to see. Now, of course, there are lots of other things that you can do. This is not going to be a kind of how to master pivot tables kind of video. This is sort of a brief idea of how you can actually add these things to your Excel documents and use them. But you can come into the design tab here. I usually go to the report layout and turn it into a tabular view. It makes it a little bit easier to see. So for example, here you can see that when you put it into tabular view, you can see the totals, the subtotals, and so forth. You can also turn these off, so you can turn it on and off for specific things, or you can turn subtotals off, do not show any, or all that kind of stuff, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can design this differently. You can also change the colors depending on what you're looking for, but it gives you a bit of an idea as to how you can use pivot tables within your documents to kind of see what is going on, from the ideas that I have scoped out to ones that I have created or ones that I haven't created, by month, by kind of content type, as I would say, or software in more specific terms. And it gives you a good idea as to kind of how you can potentially implement something like a pivot table into your Microsoft Excel documents. Now, if you want to be or want some more specific stuff around pivot tables, then do let me know in the comments down below what kind of content that you're looking for, or kind of intricacies when it comes to these things. Like I say, I generally don't like to use pivot tables too much these days, and I lean more on formulas like sum ifs or count ifs and things like that. But for the most part, they do have a use case when you're looking for quick and easy ways to analyze your data without having to do a whole host of formula work. Okay guys, so honestly it is as easy as that to essentially add these pivot tables to your Excel documents. You can let me know in the comments down below if you want some more tutorials on pivot tables, and if you're looking for something specific, do reach out. So make sure guys to smash that like button if this has helped you out in any way. The more likes we get, obviously the further it gets pushed on YouTube, and obviously that helps me to help you guys. So let's get those likes up. And of course, if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that we do here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Now, if you haven't done so already, you might want to check out that video there as well. It's one you probably don't want to miss.